Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Johnny Walk channel. Tonight, I'm taking you on a special walk through Hanoi, the capital of Vietnam, right after a powerful thunderstorm just passed through. We had flashes of lightning just a little while ago, and now the entire city is glistening. Our walk begins in the calm area near Hon Kim Lake, where we'll see the impressive Ly Thai Tho Monument. From there, we'll dive into the narrow, chaotic and beautiful alleys of the famous Old Quarter. We'll also make a quick stop at a local 7-Eleven to check out some of the unique snacks you can only find in Vietnam. The final part of our journey will take us right through the heart of Hanoi's nightlife. On Ta Hien, the legendary beer street, so you can see exactly how it comes alive after dark. This is a silent walk so you can enjoy the real, ambient sounds of the city. For more information and context, remember that you can turn on the subtitles, which are available in many different languages. If you enjoy this kind of immersive experience, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. It's a huge help and lets me know you want to see more. Alright, let's begin. Enjoy the walk through rainy Hanoi.
พี่ก็กรอกสิกรอก
낭만의 맥주 하나만 먹을까?
하준아 문 닫고 들어오자. 하준아 우리 이 폭발이 있다.
아니면 너 먹고 싶은 거 먹어봐. 너 먹고 싶은 거 먹어봐. 이거.
lớn người đây mày đọc quên lên đi. Thầy ơi cũng Giáng sinh.
Thank you. Later.
เ
아,